All right, let's dive right into this explainer. If you've been grinding away at the general awareness section for your exams, you already know how incredibly vast that syllabus can be. It feels endless, right? But what if I told you there's a highly predictable, easily hackable category of questions that shows up time and time again? Well, today we're focusing on the ultimate avian exam hacker. We're going to break down the state birds of India, tackle their surprisingly complex scientific names, and most importantly, figure out how to actually remember all of them without losing your mind.
Here's our game plan for today. We'll hit the exam prep edge, look at India's national anchor, group some shared state birds, organize by bird families, spot the unique state outliers, and finally, test you with a quick-fire quiz. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. The Exam Prep Edge. So why exactly are we geeking out over birds today? Well, it's all about the return on investment for your study time. If you're taking the SSC, IBPS, or RRB, knowing these state birds and their scientific names is a practically guaranteed way to grab easy marks. Now, securing just 1 or 2 extra marks might not sound like a huge deal in a vacuum, but in a highly competitive government or banking exam, that single mark can literally be the difference between making the cutoff and having to wait an entire year to retest. Examiners love asking for both the common name of the bird and its scientific name, so we are going to make sure you master both.
Moving on to Section 2, India's national anchor.
Before we start memorizing the individual states, we really need to set our baseline. 1963. That is the exact year the peacock was officially crowned the national bird of India. Out of a massive number of rare and beautiful bird species all across the subcontinent, the peacock was chosen as the ultimate symbol of grace and beauty. It really sets the standard for the rest of our list.
And here is its formal classification, Pavo cristatus. Every single bird on our list today has a Latin scientific name exactly like this one. And let me tell you, examiners absolutely love testing you on these Latin classifications, mainly because it proves you didn't just casually guess the answer. It proves you actually did the work and studied the material. To put things into perspective, we have to look at the scale of what we're tackling. India is made up of 28 states and 8 union territories. And just like the nation as a whole has the peacock to represent its identity, these 36 different regions have their own unique state birds to showcase their local biodiversity. Now, memorizing 36 distinct, disconnected items in a row is brutal, which brings us to our first major study hack.
Section 3. Shared State Birds.
We're going to use a little psychological trick called chunking. Let's take Karnataka, Odisha, and Telangana. They are completely distinct regions, right? But they share something huge. If you see the Indian roller on your exam or its scientific name Carassius bengalensis, it represents all 3 of those states. So you've literally just memorized 3 state birds for the effort of 1. Carassius bengalensis covers Karnataka, Odisha, and Telangana.
You see how grouping these drastically cuts your work in half? The house sparrow, known scientifically as Passer domesticus, is shared by both Bihar and Delhi. Then you have the Asian cole, Eudynamis scolopicea, which represents both Jharkhand and the Union Territory of Puducherry. And finally, Mrs. Hume's pheasant, or Sirmatacus humai, covers both Manipur and Mizoram. By finding these shared links, you're not just memorizing randomly, you're building a highly efficient mental database.
All right, Section 4, grouping by bird families.
Okay, pay super close attention here, because this is exactly where examiners will try to trip you up. Sometimes birds don't share the exact same common name, but they belong to the same family. Kerala claims the Great Indian Hornbill, while Arunachal Pradesh drops the word Indian entirely, simply calling it the Great Hornbill. But notice their scientific names. They are a perfect match, Buceras bicornis. So if a multiple-choice question asks for Kerala's bird, you'd better make sure you look for the option that actually includes Indian in the name.
When we group the mountain states together, a really cool pattern pops up: tragopans and pheasants. This gives your brain a strong geographical anchor for these complex scientific names. Up in Himachal Pradesh, we've got the western tragopan, Tragopan melanocephalus. Over in Nagaland, it's Blythe's tragopan, Tragopan blythii. Sikkim features the blood pheasant, and Uttarakhand has the Himalayan Monal, which, is also a type of pheasant. So when you think of high altitudes and mountain states, train your brain to immediately think of tragopans and pheasants.
Next up, Section 5, Unique State Outliers.
So we found the patterns, but what about the rebels, the ones that just don't fit neatly into a shared category? Because these birds are so unique, they are incredibly common as standalone trivia questions. Assam features the white-winged wood duck, or Sarcornis scutellata.
Gujarat boasts the brilliantly pink greater flamingo, Phoenicopipterus roseus. And then we have two distinct cranes representing entirely different regions. Uttar Pradesh is home to the Saris crane, Grus antigone, while the high-altitude region of Ladakh claims the black-necked crane, Grus nigercollis. By recognizing them as the total outliers they are, their distinctness actually makes them way easier to remember.
And finally, Section 6, the Quickfire Quiz.
All right, it's time to put all that active recall to the test. Let's see if you can lock in the answer before we move on. Question 1. What is the state bird of Rajasthan? Think about those arid desert landscapes and what kind of bird thrives out there. Have you locked it in? If you guessed the great Indian bustard, boom, you just earned yourself a mark. Its scientific name is Ardiotes nigriceps. This is a massive, incredibly important bird for that region. Okay, let's try another one.
Let's flip it around. Reverse question. They give you the bird, you give the state. Which state bird is the kingfisher? Specifically, the white-breasted kingfisher. Take a second.
Got it? The white-breasted kingfisher proudly represents West Bengal, or Halcyon smyrnensis. If you got that one right, you are seriously on your way to mastering this topic. Let's do just one more.
All right, one last quick check. What is the state bird of Andhra Pradesh? We're looking for a southern state known for a very specific, vibrantly colored parakeet.
Excellent job if you nailed the rose-ringed parakeet, scientifically known as Staticula cremeri. Active recall exercises just like this are absolutely the best way to ensure these facts actually stick in your long-term memory for exam day.
And that brings us to our final challenge for this explainer. To truly solidify what we've covered, I want you to test yourself right here, right now. Without looking at your notes, what is the state bird and scientific name of your own home state? If you don't know it, I want you to look it up the second this explainer finishes. The real secret to crushing general awareness sections isn't brute force memorization. It's about finding the patterns, the shared traits, and those unique outliers. Carry these memory chunking strategies into your next big exam, and those extra marks will absolutely be yours. But honestly, it does beg the question. If mastering state birds is this delightfully hackable, what other hidden patterns are just waiting to be uncovered in the rest of your syllabus? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy studying.